Hello, welcome to the Waste of Web Space podcast, episode 75.
Starring
Jimbo.
and Fisher.
And we've entitled this episode, Liz. Oh no, wait a minute, we'll do it properly. Whoa, Liz ain't going to Barbados.
Okay, so that's obviously a reference to... is that a reference to the Queen potentially being unelected as a head of state in Barbados?
Yeah, she's been removed, didn't she?
Well, is she officially been removed or has just potentially been removed? Are they voting on it or just doing it anyway?
I don't know, it looks like it might be happening.
Okay.
The movement started, hasn't it? So,
and I presume that's a play on the Venga Boys song, isn't it? Whoa, we're going to Ibiza.
Well, not the Venga Boys, because originally, I don't know if you know this, but the Venga Boys were going to Ibiza is a cover of a totally tropical song called We're Going to Barbados. So, not an original by the Venga Boys, but still a very good song.
Okay. So, are we going to play it?
Yeah, we are. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
Here we go then. So, here is Totally Tropical. Oh, not Totally Tropical. Not Totally Tropical, we'll call ourselves.
Totally Jimbo.
Totally Untropical, Totally Jimbo. Whoa, Liz isn't going to Barbados. She's been the Queen of England for all her life. Gave out OBs and MBs, made dames and knights. She was head of state in 16 countries, but one of them has just said bye. Whoa, she's no longer head of Barbados. Whoa, they've removed her. Whoa, she'll have to go on the sunbed. Whoa, in the Royal Solarium. So there you go. That was Totally Tropical, or Not Totally Tropical, Not at All Tropical by Jimbo, Totally Jimbo. And I hope you enjoyed that. You enjoyed that, Fish?
It was very good.
I did notice halfway through the song that our Facebook listeners might have been hearing us double, but I have corrected that now at my end. There we go. Technical issues to start with, but we're continuing. We're okay. And Fisher, do you think we maybe because of the false start? We could maybe try our thing. We could maybe try our thing that you saw on Twitter.
Yeah, so I saw something on Twitter, which said what you should try and you sometimes see these things where you kind of create a new name depending on what your cat was called or what your what day of the month you were born and all this sort of stuff. And this one was called "Change Your Name and Replace."
Hold on, hang on. Explicit lyrics warning. Any children listening? Anyone who's got children in the area, cover your children's ears. If you don't want to hear foul language, turn us off now, turn us down.
Yeah. When you say lyrics, I'm not planning on singing this next bit, by the way, but it was replace the first four letters of your first name and surname with the letters F-U-C-K. So basically replace part of your name with fuck and then put the rest of your name on. Which, given my name's Chris Fisher, I'd end up being called Fuck's Fucker. Now, I'm not quite sure what it would be for you.
It would be Fucko Fuxhurst. So are we ready?
Yeah, should we do the intro again?
Let's do the intro again. Hello and welcome to the Waste of Web Space podcast, episode 75.
Starring
Fuckery, Fuckhurst.
And Fuck's Fucker.
I got my own name wrong.
I can get your name wrong.
Do it again.
Confused.
No.
I can get so confused by changing four letters in your name. No word of a lie. Just as you were playing that introduction, my mum phoned me, so I wondered whether she was about to tell me off for swearing. She'd heard it already. But never mind. Anyway, so what have you been up to anyway, Jimbo?
Do we need our breaking news?
Yeah.
Okay, so breaking news for me then. What have I been doing? Well, I am going to get laser eye surgery.
Oh yeah,
I am.
Really? Are you fed up of being told to take your glasses off before your podcast because the screen reflects in your glasses?
I am that, yeah.
That's quite an extreme route to take, isn't it?
Well, I always wear either glasses or contact lenses. So if you ever see me and I'm not wearing glasses, I have got contact lenses in because I am very blind. So I'm in my mid-30s now, and I thought, I'm still not quite mid-30s, but getting there. I thought, for the next sort of at least 20, 25 years, when I'm still doing a bit of football, keeping fit and healthy, or trying to, doing physical things, maybe I could be glasses free, possibly, and contact lenses free. Because it's not great poking your eyes with contact lenses every day, and it's there you go. And as well as that,
No, it's better just to have someone shine a laser in your eyes instead, Jimbo. That's much better than poking yourself in the eyes every day.
I did make the mistake of looking at the sort of like the procedure online, because they said, it's pain free. It's absolutely pain free. You're in and out in 40 seconds per eye.
40 seconds per eye? Is that all?
40 seconds per eye.
Oh, Bennett.
So, obviously,
you don't get.
It takes, obviously, it takes people in Doncaster. It costs them slightly more. I'm joking, of course. They've only got two eyes like everyone else. But yeah, it's just 40 seconds per eye. Yeah, it seems like a lot of money for something so quick, but that's how quick it is. But I did make the mistake of watching the procedure on YouTube, and that wasn't that nice to watch. So it's put me about a little bit. But be right.
Yeah. So it will take you what? So you've got four eyes, haven't you, Specky?
Yeah.
So it'll obviously that'll be an interesting 40 seconds in your life. Are you getting both eyes done?
I am. It's a bit of a sales pitch as well when you go to see them, because they do a consultation and they check your eyes with some really amazing equipment and stuff like that. But a lot of it is a sales pitch to try and get you to do it. You know what I mean? But it's really hard to because obviously you have to look at the person who's trying to sell you this laser eye surgery and convince you that it's going to change your life and all that kind of thing. But during COVID-19, when they've got a mask on like that, it's quite difficult to understand people's facial expressions, isn't it? Like I can't I don't know if people are selling more because they're having to wear a mask or selling less. In these sort of sales roles that people are in.
You imagine? Oh well, unfortunately the procedure's not been very successful, because unfortunately when we tried to do it, you were wearing one of those plastic visors over your entire face, and we couldn't quite get the laser in there, and it just shined and bounced back off it. At which point they probably end up giving themselves, the person who was operating the machine, sort of the laser eye surgery. So I don't know.
Go on, carry on.
I was just going to say, if you have it done twice, does that sort of reverse the change that you had done first time around, or?
I don't think it's reversible, which is a bit scary.
Well, you wouldn't want it to be, would you? I'm disappointed you sold me eyesight.
If they do it once, then that's it, and I don't know what happens after that. I suppose you can still wear corrective glasses again, can't you, if you need to? But anyway, let's not talk about the concerns. Yeah. Anyway, okay. I've also started a new Instagram account called Ale and Audio in this last bit, because we have a beer on our podcast, don't we? And I wanted somewhere I can keep a track of the beers I have, and not just when I'm on the podcast, but when I'm out and about and stuff. And I'm already flying up there. Got nearly 100 followers already. Not that I'm a massive Instagrammer already.
Yeah. I think more than I've got on my individual account, more than Waste of Website have got on its account as well.
So, but it's because people like the beer, Fisher. So, anyway, that's my breaking news. I'm
thinking of getting my own...
Go on.
Sorry, go on, Jimbo.
No, carry on.
No, I was thinking of getting my own Instagram account. Obviously, you're doing it for your drinking and your podcast, and I was going to do it for my drinking and my middle distance running. It was going to be called Ale and Pace.
What's your breaking news, Fish?
Not really much, to be fair. I went for a medical test this week. I go for one every year. It was quite good fun because obviously with the coronavirus epidemic, you have to wait in the car park.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And you go to sort of a Bupa hospital for it. And have you ever been to a Bupa place or a private hospital?
I've been to a private hospital before, whether it was Bupa or not, I'm not sure, but posh, aren't they?
Well, it was a bit strange in the car park because there were 4 cars parked in a row, and my Toyota Yaris was parked in there. Guess what the other 3 cars were?
A Merc, a Jag, a BM?
Exactly that. It was
really?
Mercedes, BMW and Jaguar were the other 3
really?
cars in the line next to me, yeah.
And you're not joking?
No, I'm not joking. Those are the 3, so well done. So, do you want to give yourself that tick sound that we play on the soundboard when you get something right? Well done.
that was a complete guess. But anyway,
Yeah.
very impressive.
And to walk in, it was the first time I'd actually have it done. They gave me a temperature scan.
Oh, yeah.
So I stood on the doorstep and, before you can come in, Mr. Fisher, like held a gun to my head kind of thing, which was a bit strange because I was the one wearing the mask. And, held that to me and I went in. 36.2 apparently was my core temperature on my head. So, yeah, that was that. And also, you're looking a bit confused there, Jimbo.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Fine, all good still.
Okay, no problem. And I've been on holiday to the Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
Which is the first time I've been for, I think, about 14 years.
Mm.
And do you know what? Have you ever been to the Isle of Wight?
No. It's down south, isn't it? It's across from Southampton.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And Southampton is south of Northampton.
Right, okay.
So yeah, not to be confused with the Isle of Man, which is sort of off the coast of sort of Liverpool and what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Isle of Wight, very nice place. It doesn't change at all, to be honest. It's back when I used to go there as a kid, you felt like you were travelling back in time, and when I go now as an adult, you still feel like you're travelling back in time.
Mm.
So all good fun.
Yeah.
I got some beer from there, which I'll reveal shortly.
Oh, finally, you've got something more exotic for us.
I have, yeah. Should we do
that
beers?
now? I think that makes sense. It's nice we've gone on to that. But you had a nice holiday, did you?
It was a nice holiday, yes. Really enjoyed it.
I did pick out on your Instagram that there was a picture of you all sat round a table, and I saw a bottle of 7-Up in front of your dad, who, as we all know, worked for Schweppes for such a long time.
Yeah, aside from the fact that he didn't, but yeah. He,
And I wanted to comment to say he must be disappointed in you. But then I went to do the research and I couldn't quite work out if Schweppes and 7-Up were the same thing or not. It's quite confusing to work out. So if anyone out there is a soft drinks expert who knows whether they are still connected or used to be connected or whatever, let us know.
No, I can actually confirm that because Schweppes is part of the Coca-Cola group, I think.
All right.
As where 7-Up is part of the Pepsi group.
Ah, I think there was at some stage in their history, I think there was a bit of a crossover there.
Oh, right, okay. Don't know.
Maybe we'll find out for the next time. Could we do a quiz about soft drinks? Would we have enough material there?
I'm not. Well, I can get my dad in as a special guest and talk about Schweppes if needs be.
Do you want to go first then? Since you've been on your holiday, you've been and got something. What have you got?
I've got some Goddard's Duck's Folly.
Duck's Folly?
Which I'd suspect is 5.2%. I'd suspect after drinking several of Duck's Follies, you'd probably end up calling them Fuck's Dollies. But there we go. It's Isle of Wight born and bred from Goddard's Brewery based in Ryde on the Isle of Wight. I actually visited a brewery called Yates's Brewery, and I said, I thought I'll try the old, bit of the lingo. I'll try telling them I'm a podcaster and have you got any beers, and I'm trying to support local breweries and local businesses. Do you know what they said?
Go on.
They said, we've not got any here. We've not got any in the brewery. If you want, go and get some from Morrison's. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm supporting local breweries if I can go and buy it from Morrison's. Yeah, that's fantastic. But yes, it says amber, intense, hoppy, and it says full ale. I don't know if it means full of ale. There we go. So I'll see what it's like. What have you got, Jimbo?
So I have got some white haze. Okay, and so you've got I believe you're right. You've got a Isle of Wight beer, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
See, mine isn't Isle of Wight, but it's got white on it, and it's called White Haze IPA, and it's actually from O'Hara's Brewing, so in Ireland, and it says with tropical fruit flavour, so it goes kind of with our little Barbados title of our podcast. So there you go. And I put this on my old Ale and Audio Instagram page that I started recently. So it's not old at all, but I put it on there. So this is the one I chose in the end, and there we go.
Super.
Cheers, Fisher.
Yes, thank you. It's quite nice. It's took I would highly recommend it. All you've got to do if you live around here is do sort of a 350-mile round trip and 2 journeys on a ferry to go and get some from the Morrison's on the Isle of Wight.
Is it not like a hoverboat? Hovercraft.
You can go on a hovercraft if you want. Yeah, we went on a car ferry because we got a car with us. So, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so
do you know, actually, just sort of jumping back to being on the ferry, when we got on the ferry, they said because the ferry ultimately is a mode of public transport, you've got to wear your face mask there, which I was fine with, unless obviously you're eating or having something to eat. So we took his face mask off, so when we ate, then put it back on. I mean, I dare say I wasn't overly delighted at the amount of people who weren't using a face mask when they were on the boat. That's a different story entirely. But do you know what other mode of transport I also had to wear a face mask on, because technically speaking, it was classed as a mode of public transport?
You didn't go on a helicopter, did you?
I didn't go in a helicopter, no.
A bike? Oh, on one of the
bike.
back of those, like, yeah. Do they have those like taxi bike things?
Oh, rickshaws? No, wasn't one of them. Or tuk-tuks? No.
Go on then. Was it like one of the Chuckle Brothers cars?
No, not a rickshaw. No.
Oh, is that what it is? Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so I think the rickshaws ones with 4 wheels, as where the tuk-tuks have the bike at the front and you sit in the thing at the back. Surprisingly, I was told I had to wear it when I was on a cable car.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I did see those pictures as well. I did not remember.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I went to the Needles.
Yeah, is that basically some rock sticking out the sea?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But as rocks in the sea go, they're quite well-known rocks in the sea. And there's a lighthouse at the end of them.
It's your show and tell, isn't it?
It is, yes. It's my show and tell today. So for my show and tell item, I've got these. Well, I've got 2 of these. Do you know what these are?
They look like pipes, but then as you pick them up, like strange-looking pipes. So as you pick them up, they are in fact something cricket related. Yeah,
they're cricket leg guards or pads, if you like.
Yeah.
You put them on your legs, and they.
Do you just put one of them on both of your legs?
I put both of these on. I'll put one of these on each of my legs.
Right. Okay.
They are quite. They kind of wrap around your legs a little bit as well to make sure you've got quite a lot of protection. And these are a particularly good pair of pads for the reasons that I'll tell you in a moment. Let's say they're absolutely, completely, and utterly essential item for cricket players. If you get hit when you're batting, if you get hit on the shin and you're not wearing any pads, then it will hurt like you wouldn't believe. If you're wearing these, then the result, it doesn't hurt at all.
Okay.
Unless you get the ball just sneaking around the corner of your pad, around the corner of your knee or something like that, in which case it hurts unbelievably. So
a ball like this one.
A ball like this one, which I need to ask you about getting that cricket ball back, as well as my Stewie Griffin rocking me cufflinks.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that I'd got this ball.
Yeah. That's all right. Vicky told me about it the other day. But anyway, so what is the story behind these cricket pads? Is it that these pads, of which there are 2 of them, I'm only holding one just to make it a bit easier, these pads used to belong to the England cricketer and former England 2020 captain, Paul Collingwood. I've worn them once in a game and scored a duck and haven't worn them since. Or
a fuggy duck.
A duck's folly, yes.
Duck's folly, that's the one.
And
what is a duck?
A duck is scoring no runs in cricket.
Okay.
Fortunately, something I'm quite familiar with this season. Or is it that these pads used to belong to England cricketer Jos Buttler? I have never worn them, and they've been in my shed for the last 4 years.
Right. Okay.
So, which one of those 2 do you think is correct?
So
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you want me to go through the options again. And so
So when you wore them, you saying the Paul Collingwoods in example A, they are Paul Collingwoods,
yes.
and they've not been very lucky. You've only worn them once, and you scored. Why is that the reason you haven't worn them again? Are they not really your size, or?
Well, yeah, they're a bit too big for me. I scored a duck. It also became apparent when I did some running, even though I scored a duck. I was running when the runs went onto the other person's score, and they felt a bit big.
Yeah.
So I've never worn them in a game since.
Okay. And how did you get them? If it's from Paul Collingwood, how did you get them?
Back when I was at university at Loughborough, that was the home of the National Cricket Centre, and he gave them to me. The England team used to train until 6 o'clock in the evening, and at 6 o'clock, some of the university players could train. And being a bit of a cricket fan, I used to go quite early to cricket, so I used to kind of sneak in a little bit before 6 o'clock and watch the England team train for a little bit. Not stupidly early, but just make sure I'm there sort of 10 or 15 minutes early for our session. And while I'm getting changed, I kind of like keep a bit of a watch over them. To the extent I used to like sort of stand in awe as the England
you
players
arrived
walked past
early
me.
to watch the England players getting changed?
No,
Oh.
to watch them finish their training session
And then get changed.
And I'd be kind of getting changed at the back. Not changed as such. I'd just be taking my jumper off and taking my boxer shorts off, all that sort of stuff.
Do you want some fancy music for this?
Yeah, I'd be generally sort of taking my tracksuit top off, taking my trousers off, so I've got my shorts on underneath, all that sort of stuff, making sure I've got all my bits of kit in my bag and all that kind of thing. Paul Collingwood was kind of walking back and he was taking some kit. He was walking back and he got his bag and he dropped his mobile phone out of his bag. And I said to him, Collie. And he looked a bit gone. That's his nickname, Collie. Although he'd never been called it by me before because he didn't know who I was. He dropped his phone. I said, "Hey, you dropped your phone there, mate." And he left some of your kit as well.
So really, if you'd have not done that and just took his phone, you could have been telling Paul Collingwood's phone.
Yeah, I'd have got sort of a phone that was probably worth about £1,000 as opposed to the crappy pads that were worth about £100. And he'd left his phone and some bits of kit sort of in his. You get kind of like a wooden box at the side that you chuck your bag in when you're an England player. I mean, I had to chuck my bag at the side at the back just on the floor. He left some stuff in there, and he took his phone and said, "Oh, cheers for that, mate." He said, "Oh, by the way, these pads are getting a bit old, so you can have them if you want. There's a bit of a rip on them on one of the pads." So he gave them to me. I wore them once in a match.
Do they look old? They don't look it to me. Do they look old?
They don't. They look old for a professional. There's a bit of a tear on them there, so that's why a professional wouldn't want to wear them anymore. But
right.
To be fair, for someone like me, it make no difference. But they're just a bit too big for me.
So the second one then, can you just remind me of the second version of events?
So these pads used to belong to Joss Butler. Do you know who Joss Butler is?
I'm guessing a cricketer again.
Is a cricketer. So Paul Collingwood played cricket for England for probably about 10 years or so. He was the England 2020 captain when they won the World 2020 tournament in 2010. So he lifted the trophy. Joss Butler is the England wicketkeeper. He scored 50. I think he scored over 50 in the World Cup final last year. Did you watch the World Cup final last year? You've seen footage of it?
Yes.
Joss Butler is the one who, right at the end of the final, catches the ball and knocks the bails off and completes the World Cup victory for England.
Right, okay.
So these pads are Joss Butler's. I acquired them about 4 years ago from someone who plays at my cricket club who bought some kit from Joss Butler's club. He bought it to a training session. This particular player in my team had to leave the training session early. He'd left the bag with stuff at the back of it. Everyone else went home. Left this bag. I thought, well, I'll pick it up. Chucked it in the back of my car. Came home. Put it in the shed. Completely forgot about it. And happened upon them a couple of weeks ago. We went through it and sort of, I remember him saying at the time, I've got some stuff from Butler's. And I think that, well, these are the pads, and that's how I kind of came into having them.
So do you think, whereas the other ones, Paul Collingwood actually probably wore those in that example. He did wear them. In this example, Joss Butler didn't wear these pads, or might not have. There was more from his collection.
No, he would have worn these. I mean, these have been used and worn. And there's kind of like a bit of a rip in them, sort of, because without being funny, professional players train literally every single day and will bat for half an hour every day, and they get their pads get a lot more wear than most people's do. So they have a lot of kit. And it's not that uncommon at the end of the season to pass them out to various people.
Okay.
And as I say, I've never worn them, and they've been in my shed for 4 years.
So in that example, you've never wore them. Are you going to wear them now you found them? If it is that example,
that would be disgusting. They've been in my shed for the last 4 years. Absolutely manky.
Are they?
No. They're in whichever way it is. They're in reasonable condition. Probably the kind of thing that I'll maybe wear for training. In both examples, they are a little bit too big for me anyway, because both players are taller than I am.
Where's Joss Butler from?
Joss Butler is from Somerset.
Oh.
However, Sorry.
So how did the other person get hold of these then?
Josh Butler now plays for Lancashire, which is a bit more local to Yorkshire.
Right.
One of the lads in our team knows a few people from Lancashire. He knows one of the coaches there, and I think he's done some training with them and stuff.
All right. I think I'm ready to make my choice. I think that the Paul Collingwood one is a bit of a fantasy one for you, and it would have been great if you could have rescued his dropped mobile phone and go and give it him and give him his phone back. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know you're a big fan, but
thank you.
And I reckon you. I don't think that's. I think that's made up. And I think the next one is that I think you did, because you have to sort everything out at the cricket and you have to organise it every week and make sure everyone turns up and sort out all this stuff. I think you accumulate stuff, and over time, and I think that's something you found you accumulated, and I think I'm going to go with that one.
Okay. So you think that I've got the England World Cup Heroes cricket pads in my shed for the last 4 years?
Yes.
You'd be right. Well done.
So you only found these a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
I bet you've been.
Just something like.
I bet as soon as you saw them as well, one of the first things you thought is show and tell item.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're not absolutely 100% certain that they're Joss Butlers, but I spoke to the fellow who got them for me, and not got them for me, but we think that we're pretty certain they are.
Well, that's good going.
Yeah, and I've also seen Paul Collingwood once in a bar in Amsterdam.
So you have seen him before?
I've seen him on a few occasions.
Did you talk to him?
No. I've seen the vast majority of England players from about 10 years ago when I was at university, and I do every now and again see him popping up in certain places. But I've met Paul Collingwood in a bar in Amsterdam.
Let's get him on the podcast then, shall we?
Yeah, so there we go.
Thanks, Fisher.
All right, you're welcome, Jimbo.
Okay, so as we know, we've seen the news recently that it's going to be, it looks like Barbados will be removing the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, as head of state of Barbados. Yep. So I thought I could take us on a little bit of I thought we'd go on a bit of a journey across all of the different countries that she's still the head of state for, if that's all right.
It's interesting you mentioned the Queen, because I've got her football boots in my garage. So
you've got one of her corgis in the backyard.
Yeah.
One of her old ones that's a bit tattered and torn now.
Yeah, I've got him doing the gas central heating for me. Yeah.
So I thought we'd go on a bit of a mini holiday in one episode around all of the different countries that she is currently still the head of state for. I've not put Barbados in it. I know that she is, but I've not put Barbados in it because it looks like they're going to be removing her, and that's kind of the whole point of the feature. So I thought we'd go with the rest of them. All right. So we're going to do a bit of a tour, and we're going to start by going down under. So, as many of these are found, I've tried to look for quiz questions that focus around the royal family in that particular country, but I've not been able to find that for all of them. So sometimes I've just got interesting facts or certain funny things that happened in that particular country, depending on how good the thing I could find was.
And by that, what you mean is you've got an incident where the Duke of Edinburgh has insulted people from that country. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
That might crop up in one of them, possibly.
Okay.
So, Australia then. Okay. How did former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott break royal protocol when Prince William visited Australia in 2014? A. He called Prince William Will during a dinner speech. Or B. He put his hand on Prince William's back. So obviously you know about royal protocol, don't you? They've got certain ways they've got to behave around the royal family and so on. Things that have been there since sort of medieval times, I think, or whatever. Or certainly like Henry VIII sort of time and all that kind of thing.
I didn't realise you're not allowed to put your hand on his back. I mean, it's fair enough if Prince William was choking at the sort of state dinner that they're having, would Tony Abbott have to say, "Sorry, mate, I can't do that thing where I whack you on the back, try the sorry, just got to leave you, not allowed to." I do know. I think I mentioned on the podcast a couple of years ago that one of my friends got a photo with Theresa May in the Conservative Club in Reading, and I know when he got a photo, like they were kind of like leaning in for the photograph, and he tried to put his arm around her, and like there was a security person who straight away went, "Get off," and sort of said, yeah, "Do not touch me." Yeah, no way, get off, mate. So I think they might have called him Will as opposed to William.
And for that one, you would be wrong. So yeah, the Australian Prime Minister at the time, Tony Abbott, put his hand on Will's back, sort of thing, casually as you do, sort of thing. Did that. I imagine that's happened quite a lot of times, but that's what I found about that one anyway. So
is Tony Abbott going to be a trade ambassador for us?
Is he? Is that the truth?
Yeah. Did you not see this in the news?
Was this very recently as well?
Literally in the last couple of weeks. Tony Abbott. Well, I think it's him that I'm going to sort of slag off because he's had. I think there's been various suggestions that basically he's homophobic and misogynist and various other things, and I think a few Tory politicians have been interviewed on the news and said, "Do we think it's acceptable that Britain's going to be represented on the international stage by someone who does have very fairly old-fashioned, arcane views and sort of discriminates against various people?" To which the answer, Norman, from Matt Hancock in particular, gave an interview and he said, "Well, he's very good at trade." Well, yeah, but he's openly homophobic and he's been criticised by. Does that mean
Matt Hancock is a qualified GP then?
Well, I was going to say Matt Hancock is very good at being health secretary, but well, let's be honest. I mean, never mind.
Number 2, so staying that side of the world. Number 2, New Zealand, and I want to give a big shout out to a friend of both of ours, Danny Bembo, who is back from New Zealand. He's been he's been abroad for quite a few years, and he's back. Currently in quarantine because, of course, he's travelled back. And I think, although New Zealand aren't on the UK's list, he had to stop in Qatar just at the airport, and that is on the list. So he's had to quarantine for 14 days. So a big shout out to Danny Bembo. Anyway.
So he's had to quarantine for 14 days because he spent about 2 hours in an airport in Qatar.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, next, New Zealand. In 2017, a Chinese man was stopped in New Zealand airport for trying to bring what through customs in his hand luggage? Okay. A, 2 stuffed golden snub-nosed monkeys, an animal native to China. Or B, an 11-inch donkey penis.
Well, I mean, 11-inch penis, or as I call it, fairly small. So first off, some stuffed monkeys. So had they died? Sorry, or was it? Sorry, did you say stuffed nose?
No, they weren't alive. Yeah,
right.
No,
okay.
they were stuffed, but the monkeys were 2. Let me have a look. 2 golden snub-nosed monkeys.
Right. Okay. So presumably a bit of taxidermy work had been happening there. Yeah. I think that, amusing as though the second one is, I think it's going to be the stuffed monkeys that he would try to get in.
You would be wrong. That's 2 out of 2 wrong, yeah. So he tried to bring an 11-inch donkey penis through customs, and the purpose of it was I think it's a delicacy in certain parts of the world, eating penis.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
some parts of the UK as well. But anyway.
11 inches is quite big. I mean, could it fit in his hand luggage properly, or was it just poking out the side of it that gave the game away?
Possibly, but it was confiscated, so God knows what happened to it after. Anyway, we haven't done our joke we should have done last week, by the way. We can come back to that later if you want.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that,
yeah. So, next, number 3. We're going back over to Canada now. I haven't got any Canadian music. I don't know if you can hum the national anthem for us if you know it.
No, I'm not too sure. I don't know if you can do the theme tune to Due South or something like that.
Yeah, not sure.
Remember that, Due South?
Anyway, so in Canada then, which is another country that the Queen is head of state for, according to author Karen Dolby, what were Queen Elizabeth's first comments when she visited Niagara Falls for the first time in 1986? A, it looks very damp. I mean, I'm trying to,
Mm-hmm.
B, It's nice to finally be here. I've always wanted to see the Viagra Falls.
Viagra Falls. Surely the Queen. I mean, I think it could be a bit of blue humour. Sorry, no pun intended there. Obviously with Viagra, which I believe is blue. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I've never taken one, to be fair. I mean, you've got one at the end of your microphone by the looks of it, Jimbo. But
No, it's not a microphone.
Yeah.
It's a 11-inch donkey penis covered by a microphone. Filter.
I think that she might have, with a very dry sense of humour. Again, no pun intended with what she said. I think she might have said it's very damp.
Well done. Basically, she didn't sound that massively impressed. So there you go. You've got one right, finally. 1 out of 3. Next, then. I'm going to hope I got this right. Belize, yeah. Belize, yeah. So it's like South American, isn't it? Is it not too far from?
I think it's quite close. Does it border with Mexico and Guatemala and that kind of area here?
Yeah. So what happened when Queen Elizabeth, when she went to Belize in 1985? There was a security organisational lapse and she found herself getting into the wrong car at the airport, which was actually one of the security cars rather than her Queen sort of transport vehicle.
Yeah.
B, she was served and ate the local delicacy called gibnut, allegedly not knowing till afterwards that this was actually rat meat.
Oh, okay. Well, surely she can eat the delicacy without knowing what it is. I'm sorry, I'm just looking where Belize is. Yeah, it's not far from. It's actually not. We've actually not been that far away from Belize. Not together, but as you carry on the border straight south from Mexico, on that on the Pacific coast. On the Atlantic coast of Mexico, near where sort of Cancun and down that side is. Carry on straight down from there. The next country you get into is Belize. So there we go.
Thank you very much, Google Maps. What's the answer? By the way, just Leanne Riley checked in to our video, and she checked in just at the time we were talking about an 11-inch donkey penis.
Oh, okay.
So
well, I'm glad you've joined
set
in
the
right
tone.
moment.
But yeah.
I think she might have got in the wrong car.
Right. You think so?
I think she got in the wrong car, yeah.
Now, she ate gibnut, which is now referred to, because of that, they refer to that dish, and I don't know if they do it on certain menus in Belize, as royal rat, because the Queen ate it and wasn't quite aware of what it was at the time. Next then, Antigua and Barbuda.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, why did Barbudans have an issue with Robert De Niro in 2018? A, after devastating hurricanes, they were upset when the government decided to use it as an opportunity to change the land ownership laws, meaning it would benefit property developers, and Robert De Niro was one of the highest profile investors, and he had his own plans to build himself a luxury complex there. Or B, in a speech at a hurricane relief event, Robert De Niro referred to the people of Barbuda as Bermudans rather than Barbudans.
Oh, okay. Well, either of them looked quite plausible. I mean, was that the place where they had the hurricanes and Donald Trump sort of gave some kind of did he give a statement about how he'd gone and played golf there or something, or he'd done something, and they came out and said no, he'd done absolutely nothing whatsoever. So obviously, I like Trump to sort of be economical with the truth and make something up as he goes along. But I think it's the country. It might be one of the countries where they produce a lot of a high percentage of a lot of the stuff that we have across the rest of the world, and they've kind of had all these sort of devastating hurricanes, and there's other parts of sort of these islands and places around there that have had these issues, but it's not really that well known and reported on, even though it's a massive thing because they're sort of big exporters of a lot of products that we have, certain spices and things like that. Yeah. I think that they might have relaxed property laws to try and get people investing. I think Robert De Niro owned a lot of land as a result of it.
That's correct. Whether that actually happened or not, but they were using it as an opportunity to kind of change the property or land ownership laws, and it was going to benefit Robert De Niro. Although he didn't make many comments on it at the time, he was one of the sort of highest investors there at the time, so they were sort of, and he was obviously planning to build himself a big house and all those kind of things there, so he took a lot of the flack, really. Next then, Bahamas. Which of the following is true? A, the Bahamas is fatter than America. And what I mean by that is, as a percentage, they have more overweight people than America. B, the Bahamas has more Starbucks per capita than America does. I think we've done a Starbucks quiz before, haven't we, on this podcast, haven't we, I think?
We did one about coffee, didn't you, where you talked about National Coffee Day and the sort of various coffees that you could get.
And I think you did one about the number of Starbucks v Costas as well once, in the early days.
Yeah, I did one about the amount of stores that we've got for various retailers. IKEA versus John Lewis and all that sort of stuff. Could there be a lot of Starbucks? I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of Starbucks in certain places in America, as where I think there might be a lot in the Bahamas, and obviously they're a coffee producing country as well. Bahamas. I think it's going to be more Starbucks.
So they are not far behind the other big sort of countries with the numbers of sort of Starbucks to capita and space and things like that. They are like very close behind for such a small island. They have got a lot of Starbucks, but they're not more than America. No, the real answer is that they are fatter than America, because the percentage of people there, or the sort of average, they've got more obesity issues per sort of percentage or whatever it's, the average or whatever, than America does. So there you go.
There we go.
Maybe it's because of all those Starbucks they've got. Who knows?
Point.
Next then, Grenada. Can I just say that when I first did this quiz earlier, I did a quiz question about Grenada and about a football player in Grenada, and it turned out to be Grenada in Spain.
All right.
So I had to redo it anyway.
Yeah, okay.
And that was quite a good question as well compared to this one. Maybe I'll save it for another time. Next, which of these is true about Grenada? A, there are only 3 traffic lights on the entire island. Or B, if you've got a tattoo, you're not permitted to go on the beach unless you cover it up.
Okay, obviously the 3 traffic lights that we've got, they're red, amber, and green, aren't they? So I think that's those 3. I don't know how populated it is, but there must be. Do you need traffic lights?
There's no. I thought about this once. We live in sort of Sheffield and Chapeltown, sort of North Sheffield area, and there are no traffic lights in High Green.
Well, that's a good point, actually, isn't it?
Whereas I think there are in Ecclesfield and Chapeltown, obviously, but there aren't in High Green. Yeah.
But do you ever need them anyway? Can you not just have a roundabout instead?
I think, yeah.
So if you go to America, they never have roundabouts; just have crossroads and traffic lights. They're everywhere. But I think it might be called Grenada, by the way, as opposed to Grenada. But I think they would. I think they would have traffic lights. More than 3. They must have more than 3 traffic lights. Or tattoos on the beach. No, I'm gonna. Because I'm getting everything wrong, I'm going to go against my instincts and say that it is going to be just 3 traffic lights in the country.
Good choice. So you would have got it wrong based on your instincts, but no, that is the right answer. Next then, Jamaica. So, Jamaican bobsleigh team athlete Shanwayne Stevens, who lives in Peterborough, surprised the Queen back in July during a video call she was part of with British armed forces around the globe. With an exercise routine he does to practice for his sport. But what was his exercise routine? Your options are A, he's got an empty bathtub, which he takes to a local park with a hill when it's been raining, and he practices pushing and jumping into it. So to kind of get the sort of pushing and jumping in sort of effect. Because obviously it's been COVID, so you're not been able to go and train in the usual places.
But B, he's also been offered a part on Last of Summer Wine, I think, actually. So.
B, he pushes his girlfriend's Mini Cooper around his estate in Peterborough.
Sure, I mean, surely, but by estate, do you mean sort of country estate, like with loads of fields and horses and that sort of stuff, or do you mean sort of housing estate where there's loads of people living?
Housing estate.
Oh, okay, I don't know. I mean,
no, he's not. No, not that kind of estate.
Yeah. I thought it'd be a bit dangerous. I mean, I think they might push a. Is it an old cast iron bathtub? It's quite heavy then. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. And it's the right shape for it. So I'm going to say he pushes the bathtub and because you have to jump in the bathtub afterwards, don't you? In fact, bouncing in the bobsleigh, that could be perfect.
Think you've got the plug in?
I don't know. Actually, I've not thought about it seriously enough. We've still got it. Maybe you could use a tap because you have steering things underneath. Yeah. So maybe you could use the taps to steer instead. I think he might push the bathtub around.
No, not doing very well today, Fish. No, it's actually, he pushes his girlfriend's Mini Cooper around the housing estate. And his girlfriend's in the car steering it, but they kind of just push it to, get the practice in for the sort of getting started and all that. Next then, St. Kitts and Nevis. Which of these is true about St. Kitts and Nevis? A, as of March 2015, St. Kitts and Nevis is the most popular place to buy a passport. Or B, average life expectancy in St. Kitts and Nevis is surprisingly high for a country of its small size and status, at 77 years old for men and 81 years old for women.
So did you say buy a passport?
Yeah, the most popular place to buy a passport.
So how do you buy a passport?
Well, you can purchase passports.
And just become a member, just you're a St. Kitts and Nevis national just because you've given them a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
Something like that would never happen in this country, would it?
And I thought I'd give you a bit of a background as well. Average age expectancy of the UK, 79.9 years for males and 83.6 years for females. Mm-hmm. So it's high for a country of its size, basically. Although it's not as high as the UK, but obviously we've got a health system and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's never. I mean, it'd sort of be quite a nice life. Get a nice bit of sunshine and all that sort of stuff in these Caribbean islands. So, I think it might be a life expectancy. I'm going to go with that.
I bet you've only got like 2 right or something. I'm sure you've only got
like that. And one of those was because I wanted to go against my natural instinct, what I thought it was.
So, it's a popular place to buy a passport because, basically, and obviously this will sound like a lot, but 150 grand or dollars, a family of 4 can buy visa-free travel to 132 countries with no requirement to live in or even visit the country. And it's been quite a controversial one because there was a lot of, I think even Cambridge Analytica were involved in something to do with this during the the old election scandals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's various things that are a bit controversial about that, but yeah, there you go. Next one, St. Lucia. What could you be fined $1,000 for in St. Lucia? A, calling someone an insulting name, or B, not wiping your feet before entering a public or state-owned building.
Ooh, an offensive name. I mean. God, I mean, just think how much it would cost. Think how much money they would raise if Piers Morgan moved to St. Lucia if that was the case. What he could do for their government, or wiping your feet. I think I've heard that there's certain places where wiping your feet, or rather not wiping your feet, is a really big no-no and very, very disrespectful to going into certain places. So I think if you don't wipe your feet, you could potentially get fined in St. Lucia. I'm going to say that.
You can tell that I spent a lot of time on this quiz, can't you?
Go on then.
Because you're wrong again. It's actually the other one that, what did I say? I can't remember what the other one was now. Calling someone an insulting name. So you've got to be very careful about calling people each other names when you're in St. Lucia.
I don't know which prick came up with that either.
Next then, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. During the country's general election in 2015, what did ruling PM Ralph Gonsalves have to contend with? Okay, I think I've said that right. A, Scientists and experts began getting warning signs that the volcano Soufriere, I think I've said that right as well, on the island was at risk of an eruption. The PM had to consider calling off the election and prepare for a potential evacuation of parts of the island. B. A leaked sex tape allegedly featuring a senior member of his party was doing the rounds. He had to deny its validity, claiming it was all set up.
Okay. I don't know if it's a volcanic island. I'm assuming it probably is. I think a few of them are around there. Or a leaked sex tape, which neither of which are particularly good or helpful when you're on a campaign trail. But again, I'm not having much of a good run of form here, am I? So, is it a case of I think of something then change my answer? I think the volcano. I think there might be a volcano that was due to. But that said, you just cancel the election, wouldn't you? So, is it going to be the sex tape? Now I've got to choose one or the other, and now I've mentioned both. I'm just going to get annoyed when I get it wrong. So, I'm going to say that I'm going to stick with the volcano.
And you would be wrong.
Oh.
I don't know how you managed to get so many wrong. You're worse than what I were like. Anyway, yeah.
No,
so
you feel.
It was the sex tape one. Anyway, but there is a volcano on the island, so that's not made up. They monitor it. I think the last eruption might have been 1979. I think everyone was fine. They, managed to, and make sure they got out in time and all that kind of thing.
Was that 1979 or 79?
1979.
Was 79 the year that Mount Vesuvius erupted?
Not sure. Maybe they just all erupting at the same time. I'm sure it was 79 when I read it in the thing anyway. I might be corrected. We could have a look later. Anyway, so, number 13, the last one, the Solomon Islands and Tuvalu. You ever been there, Fisher?
No, but it's always mentioned on Pointless, isn't it, Tuvalu?
Have you ever been to any of these places?
I've never. No, I've not been to any of those places.
Me
at all,
neither. So, on a visit to Solomon Islands in the late 80s during her welcome parade, Queen Elizabeth. You know what? I think I've missed one out actually as well. I'll have to find it. Queen Elizabeth made a risky comment. What comment did she make? A. She commented on a man wearing a traditional ceremonial grass skirt and sunglasses, saying, "It's the first time I've seen a haystack wearing sunglasses." B. After hearing a young girl perform a traditional island song, the next performer announced they were going to sing, and the Queen was heard saying to her staff, "Are we going to need earplugs for this one as well?"
Right, okay. So I'm trying to check. Mount Vesuvius did erupt in the year 79, by the way, so at least I do actually know something.
You don't get any more points for that, though. That's not my question, was it?
Never mind.
My quiz, not yours.
79 AD, by the way. So, what did she do? A haystack with some... No, actually... So, was this the Queen or the Duke of Edinburgh?
The Queen.
Queen. No, if the Duke of Edinburgh, it might have come out with a stupid comment about haystacks wearing sunglasses, but I'm going to say, do we need earplugs for this? The Queen said that.
And you would be... Wrong again. Yeah, she said she commented on it because they'd chosen the dress, the ceremonial, the way they were going to dress is they decided to go with something traditional, which was the sort of grass skirts, but then they decided to mix it up with modern sunglasses. So the Queen sort of commented saying, "Oh, I've never seen a haystack with black sunglasses on before," which was deemed a little bit risky at the time. And probably was really, depending on, anyway. So, there is one more that I've forgotten, and I did, you did say, is this going to be about Prince Philip and anything you said? And I did say yes, and there is something, and somehow I managed to miss it. So, Papua New Guinea. What did Prince Philip say to a student who'd been trekking in Papua New Guinea in 1998? A. I thought students are supposed to study, not go on holidays. B. You've managed to not get eaten then, suggesting that tribes in Papua New Guinea still practice cannibalism.
B.
And you would be correct.
Well, you're only as good as your last answer.
No, you had to get one right, didn't you? There you go.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed that, Fisher. Apart from not getting any right.
Yeah, you can always trust Prince Philip to finish things off with a nice bit of xenophobia. and something that you know would definitely be inappropriate and therefore correct.
Do you feel like you have learned? Do you feel like you've been on holiday during this last sort of 25 minutes or so, 20 minutes?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to quarantine for the next 14 days now.
Have you had an accident that wasn't your fault? Did a little bit of wee come out when you saw something madly hilarious? Has your mother's home cooking resulted in an over-exuberant fart that was actually more than wind? Then contact Dirty Pants Lawyers for you. We're experts in getting you the compensation for those embarrassing incidents that simply weren't your fault. With our Premier service, we can even arrive on scene with an emergency pair of pants. If your 3 children have left you with a weak and leaking bladder, then we can claim off their future income and direct it straight back to your pocket. If a hilariously funny podcast, obviously not this one, has left you practically pissing yourself on your commute, then get in touch and we'll start your claim today. Dirty Pants Lawyers for you, because sometimes pissing yourself laughing is just not funny. Okay, I think actually as well, Fisher, a lot of those countries in the last quiz weren't on the quarantine list anyway. A lot of them. I'm guessing maybe places like Canada, maybe not New Zealand, but Australia might be possibly. Not sure.
I think in general, a lot of the countries, the Caribbean countries, haven't been affected by it quite as badly. I think. Don't know for certain, but yeah, so they might not be on the quarantine list. I don't know about. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was going to say we need to do our joke from last week.
Yes, the joke we should have done last week, I think. Had you got one as well?
I had, yeah.
On the same subject?
So we were talking, weren't we, about Ann Summers, and they were struggling to pay, the shops were struggling to pay their rent, weren't they? And were at risk of closing down. And you made some quite hilarious comments that there was a protest where they'd sort of chained themselves to the shop, but it turned out to be someone who chained themselves up accidentally with some fluffy handcuffs and various things like that. And I thought what I could have said at the time is that the sort of, the landlords who were not, who they were complaining to for not being able to afford the rent, the landlord's response was, they're playing up over nothing. They're just getting the sexy knickers in a twist. But anyway, that was it. That was going to be mine. There's your symbol. Did you have one as well?
I had one as well because we were talking about the chess championship getting abandoned because someone had got a bad internet connection. And you said maybe someone had been watching too much porns. My joke should have been, he said he was just bashing the bishop.
Hey, there we go. Anyway, time for news. So we've kind of. Should we start with rule of 6?
We can do, yeah. I mean, we're on this podcast as 2 of us. If we had 5 more people joining us, not allowed. So yeah, you can only now mix with 5 other people.
No, 6.
Bad news.
Oh no, 5 others and you.
5
I get
others,
it. Yeah.
Jimbo, I know. With you personally speaking, a lot of the social events that get organised around you, you're not even invited to yourself. But yeah, for most people, if they go to something, they go to it as well. So yes, you and 5 others, so a group of 6 people, which I think, as we've just proved, it does get confusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's changed. Indoors or outdoors, 6 is the maximum amount of people you can be with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if you've got many comments on that at all.
It's just a bit odd, isn't it? Because they sort of like, and also this didn't start until like a certain day either, so that just encouraged everybody to go and hang around in as big a groups as they could. And it even to me as well, it was a bit. I wasn't really aware of the rules before the rule of 6. So when I read the rules, what it currently was before the rule of 6, which was that you're allowed to be in a group of 30, providing the 30 are from 2 different households. Like, that means you've got to be in a house that have got 15 people in potentially. Like, I know there are some big families, but there's not, surely, that 15's a big number, in it. So that was a little bit wishy-washy anyway for me.
Well, if you're a family of 6, sort of partners and 4 children, you can't have anyone visit you at all, or you can't go out and see anyone whatsoever, which is a little bit unfair. I mean, it's quite a small number as well, 6, isn't it? I mean, all it takes is 2 families of 4 and you can't see each other.
No, it's a bit odd. And also the fact that the rules don't apply to certain things. So,
well, coronavirus doesn't travel around at work, so you're fine going in.
Yeah.
It's a bit amazing, isn't it? I mean, you can go and pick your child up from school where they've been around sort of 300 people, and yet they can't go and meet 6 of them outside of school.
And I saw something the other day that said, because there's been a bit of uproar about the fact that you can go shooting, can't you? Shooting grouse, is it, or something like that. So I saw a comment from someone the other day saying, so the rules as I understand them is 7 children can't go together to feed the ducks, but 30 grown men can go and shoot ducks. Absolutely, absolutely fine.
To be fair, I'm not going to argue with 30 blokes because they've got guns.
Right, well, yeah, true. Good point.
So there we go.
We've mentioned ducks a lot in this podcast, haven't we?
Oh, we have actually, yeah. Talking about guns and more of that variety of guns, should we talk about Wayne Lineker? Yeah,
go for it. So, he's looking for a girlfriend, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Have you got details of what he's asked for?
I think I tried to. 1 second. I'm going to try and open it up because it was quite an interesting list. He said it's a tongue-in-cheek thing, but then it went into quite a lot of detail, almost sort of made you think, well, this isn't really tongue-in-cheek. He's actually advertising here, isn't he? So he's looking for a girlfriend, and he decided to post on his Instagram the exact details of what he's after. So, number 1, you must like older men, but only me.
Yeah.
You've got to be a worldie. Now that's very subjective, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like you couldn't. Who's making that decision? You know what I mean? Well, I suppose it's him, but.
Oh yeah.
Age 30. Okay, 28 or 29 would work as well. But not my age, because that would just look weird.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously. I mean, you wouldn't want to lumber him with going out with someone of his own age. Yeah,
there was some really like. So he says on it, one of his things is a dog is acceptable, but will need a passport. So he's after a worldie, but also could be a dog.
The dog could go to St Kitts and Nevis for a passport, though, couldn't
So he's talking about an actual dog.
Yeah, sorry.
I wasn't sure I was referring to things there. I didn't know if he was saying a dog's fine, I'll have a dog. I didn't know what kind of... I didn't know he meant the girls got to have the dog. I thought, anyway. It's an odd one, isn't it? He doesn't do...
Just a bit, yeah.
He doesn't do much for himself. Because he's already not, he's not got a great amount of fans, has he, in a sense. He's a bit... I think people do see him as a little bit odd, don't they?
Can't say, he is Gary Lineker's brother, isn't he? He's well known for running... He runs some bars in Ibiza, or Lineker's bar in Ibiza and various other places.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you think he'll find anyone?
Well, probably. I've sent him a message of it.
I have. Well, once I finished making my Waitrose ready meal, I messaged him.
Yeah, because he said that's one of his requirements as well, isn't it?
Should we talk about should we stop talking about strange, incompetent people anyway?
Yeah.
Move on to Chris Grayling.
Yeah.
Do you know what he's got a job as now? He earns about £100,000 a year.
Did he used to be the transport secretary?
He used to be a transport secretary.
Let's hope he's got nothing to do with any sort of transport then. What's he doing as his job?
Well, he's advising a port company.
What kind of port? Drink?
Not the fortified wines. The places where you get shipping containers and stuff in.
Right, okay.
By ferry. And this is Chris Grayling. I think he's doing 7 hours work per week and getting paid about £100,000 a year for advising them on various issues. This is the person who gave out a shipping contract worth about £50 million to a company that had no boats.
Look, your port, I can guarantee you, give me the job, your port is going to have no congestion issues whatsoever. Is that you think how he got the job?
Who knows? But also there's been complaints this week about diversity on Britain's Got Talent.
Have there? Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were quite good.
Oh, are you talking about the band with Ashley Banjo?
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Sorry, I was just talking about the fact people complain about there's diversity on Britain's Got Talent.
Oh, yes, right. Okay.
It also probably applies to the band as well, who did a performance that went down. Well, I was going to say not very well, but most people who complained probably didn't even watch it.
No, I thought it was good.
I thought it was all right as well, to be fair. But yeah, it led to about 25,000 complaints, and Ofcom responded to it officially today, and they basically told everyone who complained that they should stop moaning about stuff.
Fair play. He's a lot bigger now, isn't he? The lad with the big hair, the afro-y sort of hair. He's a lot bigger now, isn't he? They can't throw him around like they used to.
Harry, I think his name, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I think it was perfect for it originally, because that hair that he got, if he fell down, he just bounced straight back up again. So it was fine.
Yeah.
But should we talk about the government as well?
Yeah, let's go for it.
I mean, we don't like to mention Brexit too much, but Boris walked around for a fair amount of time saying that his Brexit deal was oven ready. Turns out it's actually not. What a surprise that is.
Having settled for a microwave meal instead.
Well, no one quite knows, but they've said that what they're doing now will be breaking the law in a very specific way.
Right. Okay.
Which apparently is all right.
Yeah,
it's fine to do.
And is this just a few days within saying you should report anyone who you see breaking the law, the COVID rules? Is this the same government?
Yes, it is. Yes, funnily enough, yeah.
And is it the same Boris Johnson who said, before you report anyone, maybe you should go and have a word with them first? Yes, exactly. Surely we're going to end up more people in hospital with fractured skulls if that's the advice.
Yes, yeah. So I couldn't quite make it up. But what else have you seen in the news?
Well, the last thing probably I'd like to point out is that there's a German football team, amateur football team, who have lost 37-0 because basically there was their opposition had previously they'd had somebody within their ranks or team, whatever, come down with symptoms of COVID or tested positive for COVID. And it turned out that although they all got tested and they were fine, it wasn't still within the 14 days quarantine advice. So they might not have come up as positive, but because the 14 days hadn't passed, there were a lot of football players who were quite concerned about it. So basically, they ended up trying to socially distance, but the other team didn't. So they sort of tried not to tackle or tried not to sort of, go near and do the marking and stuff, and they ended up, as a result, losing 37-0. And they tried to get the game called off and everything, but the football thing wouldn't let them without giving them a fine or whatever. So yeah, this poor German football team lost 37-0. So
yeah, poor fellas. All women, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of football teams out there who probably like to use that excuse, isn't there?
Yeah,
we were just socially. What were you doing in that match, Harry Maguire? I was just socially distancing.
I mean, I didn't realise Sheffield Wednesday had been social distancing for so long, to be honest. I mean, but there we go. Basically, new season has started.
Yeah,
a win for Sheffield Wednesday, so we're down to -9 points. Come on, all going well.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Should we move on to my quiz?
Let's do that. We can do as soon as. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. We're moving on. What have you got for us, Fisher?
Well, I'd seen on the news that Ed Sheeran had a child. Do you know what Ed Sheeran's child was called?
Oh, no.
Okay. The child was called Lyra Antarctica Seaborn Sheeran. So, not particularly very original on the final name, but the other three were quite different, quite unusual.
Did you say Seaborn?
Seaborn, yeah.
Was it born at sea?
I don't. Not as far as I'm aware. It would be very difficult, I think, to have a child born at sea. Probably not the best if you're in one of those boats that's kind of. If you're on a car ferry like I was last week, you're probably all right, fairly solid. But if it's something that's kind of going up and down, that's not going to be ideal maternity conditions.
No.
But yeah, Ed Sheeran had a child a couple of weeks ago called Lyra Antarctica Seaborn Sheeran. And I think names such as Antarctica and Seaborn are quite unusual. So therefore, I thought I would research into celebrity children's names, or the names of the children of celebrities, rather, and just kind of run through and see what we think. I've got certain famous people, and there are a couple of options as to what their children or child are called. that's okay, and we'll see see where we get. So I think we've got 12 questions coming up, which also actually features a question about Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
As mentioned earlier on. So
I didn't mention Robert Downey Jr.
Did you not? I thought you did.
No. Robert De Niro.
Oh, Robert De Niro. Sorry.
Are you going to get anything right today, Fisher?
Oh, good point. I am. Oh, no, sorry. No, I'm not. Okay. I got that one wrong as well. So, Gwen Stefani and Gavin Rossdale, they've got some children. Do you know who Gwen Stefani and Gavin Rossdale are?
I know Gwen Stefani. I don't know Gavin Rossdale.
Gavin Rossdale was a judge on The Voice for one series.
What did he do anything before that?
Well, he was in a band.
All right.
He was in a band.
But Gwen Stefani was formerly of No Doubt, weren't she, originally in the 90s?
She was of No Doubt, yeah. Gavin Rossdale.
Got no doubts about that either. I'm almost certain she was.
Gavin Rossdale was in a band that were quite popular in America, but weren't massively popular in Britain, I don't think. So what was the name of their children? Are they called Adelphi Jagger Jerome and Puma Carter Bush? Or are they called Apollo Bowie Flynn and Zuma Nestor Rock?
I can't even apply any logic to these. Would they have been a fan of George Bush at some point?
Well, it might be worth pointing out this moment that Gavin Rossdale was in a band called Bush.
Oh, okay.
Whether that makes any difference to it or not,
was that anything to do with the President Bush?
I don't think so. I think it probably came out... well, actually, they probably came out after George Bush's father, but before George W. Bush.
Okay.
I think.
All right. Let's go with the first one.
Adelphi Jagger Jerome and Puma Carter Bush. You're wrong.
Have you had to make these up as well?
Yeah, I would like to thank both the dictionary and the thesaurus for giving me words for this round. So next up, Jerry Halliwell. What are her children called? Are they called Snowdrop and Capulet or Bluebell and Montague? You see what I've done there?
I can.
Obviously, Montague and a Capulet, yeah.
Yeah, and then two alternative flowers.
Yeah.
Snowdrop and what?
Snowdrop and Capulet or Bluebell and Montague.
I think Bluebell is...
And these are for children, not for cats, by the way.
Yeah, cats are called Steve and Janice.
Yeah.
Let's go with... obviously loves the cats more than the kids. Let's go with Bluebell and Montague. Because I think Bluebell sounds more like a name that you might call a child than Snowdrop, maybe. That's the only thing I can say.
Well, you are correct. Well done. Next up, Robert Downey Jr., or it might be Robert De Niro, who knows. What are his children called? Are they called Chino, Valdez, and Ravinda, or Indio, Exton, and Avery?
The first ones again?
Chino, Valdez, and Ravinda, or the second one's Indo, Exton, and Avery.
I think he must have... You know them things on the internet, those like anagram makers? We can just put a bunch of letters in and just hit generate. I think he must have done that.
Yeah.
Let's go with the second one.
Indo, Exton, and Avery.
Yeah.
You'd be correct, well done.
You're better at guessing than you are today.
You don't just know these. Next up, George Lucas from Star Wars and... is it Indiana Jones as well? George Lucas?
I think I know this one.
Oh, right, okay.
I think it might be C-3PO and Art. No.
Is it Harrison or Ford? No, it's... So, what is George Lucas's child called? Is it Everest or Annapurna? Possibly worth pointing out that Annapurna is also the name of a well-known mountain.
Annapurna, Everest, Annapurna. Well, being as I've never heard of Annapurna before, and I don't think you would have either before this, possibly. Although you might be quite good at things like geography and so on. I'm going to go with Annapurna.
You'd be wrong, it's Everest. Nicole Richie, adopted daughter of Lionel Richie, and she was on a program with Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
Years ago, I think the Simple Life, something like that was called. What are her children called? Are they Harlow and Sparrow, or Linton and Harrow? So Harlow and Sparrow, or Linton and Harrow.
Okay, so Lionel Richie's daughters.
Hello?
Yeah. I'm still here.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to tie back any links there, but I don't think there will be any at all, really. No, let's go with the second one.
Linton and Harrow. No, you'd be wrong. It was Harlow and Sparrow. Not particularly sure if there's any great meaning behind those names, or I don't know how they quite choose names that are so unusual like that. I don't know. Why don't celebrities sometimes just call them James or Chris or... Sorry, I've not been very original there because they're our names, but just things that are a bit more usual. Next up, Kate Winslet. What is her child called? Is it Bear Blaze or Alberto Fire?
Bear Blaze.
Bear Blaze. That's spelt as in grizzly bear, as opposed to
naked.
Naked, yeah.
Bear Blaze or what?
Bear Blaze
or
Alberto Fire, which sort of sound a bit like two American football teams, really, don't they?
Mm.
But nonetheless, one of those is Kate
Vienna
Winslet's
or something. Yeah. Let's go with the second one again.
You'd be wrong. It's Bear Blaze. Adam Levine is he from the band Maroon 5?
Yes. Is it the main singer as well?
I think he is. Yeah. I think, as with a lot of bands, I don't think anyone knows what the other ones are called. Other artists are called. What are his children called? Is it Buckley Bernard and Miller Violet, or Geo Grace and Dusty Rose?
Mm.
So is it Buckley Bernard or Bernard? Probably Bernard, not Bernard, I would have thought, given it's a celebrity child. So
is it a girl
Buckley
as well?
Bernard, I have no idea. I have no idea on the gender of any of these children, I hasten to add. Buckley Bernard and Miller Violet, or Geo Grace and Dusty Rose?
Sounds like a female. So, I mean, either way, she'll be loved, won't she? Whichever name he's gone for. I think. Never mind the moves like Jagger. I think he'd had the drugs like Jagger when he was naming his kids. Let's go with the second one. No. First one. I keep saying second one. First one.
Okay. You're wrong. It was the second one. Next up, The Edge from U2. He's got a child. What are they called? Is it Blue Angel or The Edge Junior?
That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? The Jimbo Junior.
Yeah.
The Fisher Junior.
I can't remember off
the
the top of
little
my
Fisher.
Can't remember off the top of my head what The Edge's real first name is. I think Bono's called Paul something, I think, isn't he?
What? Fucker Junior. If you're just tuning in now, you'd have to go back to near the start to work out what we're on about there. But anyway, let's.
I think the start was about 3 hours ago with the podcast as well. But never mind.
Let's go with The Edge Junior.
The Edge. No, he's not. It's called him the Blue Angel. Blue Angel. Sort of makes him sound a little bit like a toilet detergent of some form, I think, doesn't it? Or a bathroom cleaner or whatever. Yeah. Next up, what are Alicia Keys' children called? Are they called Babylon and Leviticus, or Egypt and Genesis?
I can't. I mean, no one should call the kids any of those names. Remind me again.
Babylon and Leviticus, or Egypt and Genesis?
Oh, you know what? I think maybe Egypt and Genesis have got a quite nice ring to it, actually.
Okay. You've done well there. You'd be right. Well done.
Thank you.
I thought obviously I'm trying to make the fake names sound a bit like the genuine names.
Yeah.
So obviously, Egypt and Babylon, sort of part of the ancient world. Obviously, Genesis. I put Leviticus because that's another book of the Bible. I attempted to put Babylon and Phil Collins.
Yeah.
I thought that probably sound too fake.
I was going to say, was she choosing that name based on the Bible sort of thing, or was it more based on a favourite band?
Yes, indeed. So next up, Bear Grylls. Surely he can't have children with stupid names in himself, but I think he has managed. So, what are his children called?
Is it Kitty Cooker or something like, I don't know, Rabbit Microwave?
It is not. It is not. I mean, I'll be honest.
Parrot Hob.
The names of his children are things that he would consider to be edible, but that doesn't narrow it down, does it? So, are they called Blackberry and Marmalade, or Huckleberry and Marmaduke?
For some reason, I mean, I don't think the first ones are too bad. What did you say? The first one?
Blackberry and Marmalade.
Blackberry and Marmalade. I don't think the first ones are too bad, to be honest.
Really?
Well, compared to what we've heard so far. But I think it is the second ones. I think I've heard of this before. I think with this one, maybe. Otherwise, I've just completely made it up.
Huckleberry and Marmaduke. You gonna go with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, correct. You're right. Well done.
I think I have heard that before. That one.
Next up, Casey Affleck. There's only two left, by the way. So Casey Affleck, who is he? Ben Affleck's brother, who won Did he win an Oscar for Manchester by the Sea? His performance in that, or am I just making this up as I'm going along?
What Casey Affleck did?
Casey Affleck, yeah.
Yeah, I presume it's his brother, but again, I'm not up on the Hollywood world.
Yeah. Well, we've not got the right names for it, to be fair, have we?
No.
So, Casey Affleck's children, what are they called? Is it Indiana and Atticus, or Louisiana and Scout?
Ah, I see what you've done there as well.
Yeah.
So, as you will know, because you were probably in my set, because we were both top set for English, weren't we, at school?
We were.
We read To Kill a Mockingbird.
Who'd have thunk that?
We read To Kill a Mockingbird.
We did, yes.
I bet you want to invent your own form, don't you? Just so you can have your own level above me there. But I was good at English. You might have been better than me at maths, but
my favourite bit in English, because I think we sit next to each other as well, didn't we?
Yeah, I think yeah.
And can you remember? And I used to work very hard in English, and we had a poem anthology.
Yes, I remember that.
Which got loads of bits of poetry in there, and I used to sort of make notes in there and sort of write stuff about the poetry in there and sort of make comments and stuff. And you used to do bits of drawing in there.
That's how my head worked.
Do you know where this is going, by the way?
No.
Right, okay. So there was a bit of a thing as to whether or not you could take your old poetry anthology into the exams if you'd written notes on it and that sort of stuff. And our teacher, who was quite distinctive looking, if you remember.
Yeah.
We'll not name her because it's probably a bit unfair to the teacher in question. And she was talking about it, and she said, you can take in your poetry anthology as long as it's kind of actually neat and informative, and you've actually got relevant bits in there. But you shouldn't be just doodling and doing stuff on there. What you've done in your poetry anthology specifically is drawn a picture of the teacher.
I think I do remember. It was good.
And it was quite good. It was quite good. But what she did was, she said, and there weren't actually many lads in our class, if you remember.
Yeah.
And we actually sat at the front.
There were four of us, yeah.
4 or 5 of them sat at the front, on the front desk, and it was just, we were surrounded by girls, a bit like real life for us. But she said, whatever you do, don't do this. And she actually picked up your anthology because she was sat at the front, and she held up the picture that you'd drawn of her and showed it to the rest of the class.
I completely forgot about that. Do you think she knew it was her?
No, she had no idea it was her. She just picked up anything and showed it. but there we go.
I think I might have got a photograph somewhere of said teacher.
Please, if you can find the drawing that you did at the time, please do find it. But so anyway, that's a much better story than you spilling water on my science experiment that time. So anyway, Casey Affleck.
I was trying to say that. So in that lesson we did To Kill a Mockingbird, and the characters in it were obviously Atticus was the lawyer,
yeah,
and his daughter was Scout. So you put them in two halves there. So what are the first names? You got Atticus and Indiana, was it?
Indiana and Atticus, or Louisiana and Scout, so both American states.
Scout is Scout an American state? Oh no, two American states. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know what you're saying now. I know what you're saying. Yeah, Scout was the character in it. I'm going to go with Scout. That one, the B. Yeah, go B.
You'll be wrong. Oh. It is Indiana and Atticus. But nonetheless, we thank you for your for the drawing of our teacher back a good that must have been sort of 17 or 18 years ago, and still very memorable. It was. Yeah. Final question. I don't know if this gentleman is a Sheffield Wednesday fan. Jermaine Jackson.
Yeah, he claims to be for some strange reason. Every now and again, he sends out a tweet that he's a Wednesday fan, and we're not 100% sure why. Nobody really is, but anyway.
There we go. What is Jermaine Jackson's child called? Is it Jer Majesty or Giraffe?
Jer Majesty.
Or C, Jer have to give me such a stupid name. No, Jer Majesty or Giraffe.
I think I've heard this one as well, and I think it's Jer Majesty.
Well, of course it is. He's not going to call his son Giraffe, is he? So, yes, it is Jer Majesty.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, the kid is going to grow up with that name, and could blame it on anyone, but ultimately, he's got to blame it on your daddy, haven't they? So, anyway, is that your last one?
That's the last one. Well done.
Thanks, Fisher. I enjoyed that. So anyway, thank you very much for listening today and for watching. If you've been watching live, sorry if we have had any audio issues. I'm not sure if they've been corrected or not, but we'll correct them on the final video. But thank you for listening. However you've listened or watched, please get in touch at Waste of Web Space on Twitter and Facebook. We're on Instagram.
You're on Instagram now with your own sort of podcasting and drinking account.
Ale and audio, yeah. If you want to follow the beers that you should send yours to me, Fisher. Take a picture of it and send it me. Because it's send a picture of me and I'll put it on. Send me a picture. So yeah, there you go. But please get in touch and let us know if you want us to give you a shout out in the next episode. We'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. The good thing to know is that there are so many daft names of celebrities or children of celebrities, so that we can definitely get another quiz out of that. Maybe another 2 or 3 by the amount of material that I managed to get for that. So that will come up again at some point.
Nice one.
But there we go.
And
so
if anyone does has a child in the next 2 weeks and you're short of baby names, then there you go.
Yeah. If anyone's ever drawn any pictures of their teachers in a poetry book, then please do send them in to us so we can compare. I think that's about it. Thank you very much, Jimbo. We'll see you next time, and thanks to everyone for watching and listening.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.